Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day, early morning, mid morning, and giving your sweet association. Hare Krishna, welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all the devotees. This is Sushmita from Canada.
Hare Krishna, Shushmita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Jivinita Gandharvi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada Celebrate Puja, this is Arinda.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to Assembly Devotee. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvi Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. My humble obeisance to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Ram.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvi Mataji. This is Kamodaki Dasi from Baltimore. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you and all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Komadiki Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your sweet association every day. Nice to see you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Nice to see you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the assembled devotees and all glories to your services. This is Anita from Sharjah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving the Krishna. Hare Krishna, is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves?
It's very nice saree. Nice designs, flowers. Good.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vardhana from Atlanta. Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vardhana Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Nice to hear your voice in the early morning call, Mataji. You join, but you don't introduce every day. Today I hear your voice. Thank you, Mataji. So, we'll start the recording. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Holiness Vedavyasa Priya Swami Maharaj to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 26, chapter 26 verse. Before I hand over the call to Maharaj, I request Raj Prabhu to give brief introduction. Raj Prabhu, over to you. Prabhuji, please take over.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Shri Guru and Gauranga. This is the brief introduction for Maharaj. His Holiness Vedavyasa Priya Swami Maharaj was born in an Odisha Sahasra Brahmin family in 1944. Maharaj was working as a research biochemist in East Africa and United States. Within a week of arrival in the US, Maharaj had the association of the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada. Circumstances led Vedavyasa Priya Swami Maharaj to give up mundane research and take full shelter of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Since before his first initiation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada in 1977 in New York, Maharaj has served the International Society for Krishna Consciousness in various capacities, including personal secretary to the GBC president of ISKCON Queens, New York, director of Bharatiya Community Services in New Vrindavan. After 1987, Vedavyasa Priya Swami Maharaj shifted attention to serving India, following the instruction of Srila Prabhupada that every Indian trained in the West must help to serve in India. Since 1991, Maharaj has been based in Vrindavan, India, and his services have included overseeing the functioning of an ashram in Vrindavan and also the Bharatpur ashram, and wider services of regional secretary in Punjab and Haryana, and as the chairman of North Indian Temples Divisional Council. Since 1998, Maharaj has been serving Srila Prabhupada and his movement as an initiating spiritual master and has been preaching far and wide throughout the world the message of Guru and Krishna. He is currently free of management duties, making a full commitment to giving spiritual guidance, preaching, and teaching to devotees in all levels of advancement in Krishna consciousness philosophy, sadhana, deity worship, and temple seva. This was the introduction of Maharaj. Over to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Raj Prabhuji, for the brief introduction. I guess still Maharaj is not yet joined. We'll stop the recording here. We'll wait. Before that, is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves? Please go ahead.
My name is Sukrakar Krishnadas. Actually, I am a chartered accountant by profession. Disabled Adhyapata Yamaraja from Chennai. So I was in Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandap Pranam. I'm really happy. I'm feeling very blissful whenever I come here. All great devotees giving speech, and also your Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's like a Vaikuntha lok. East or west, Japa Sangha is the best.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sukrakar Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining and giving your association. Hari Bol. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees on the call. This is Harita from Houston.
Hare Krishna, Harita Mataji, Dhanavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day and chatting so beautifully. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Valli from Naperville, Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Valli Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna. Okay. Shamagauri Mataji. Shamagauri Mataji, are you there, Mataji? Okay, we can wait.
Hare Krishna Mataji, we just spoke to Maharaj, he's joining now. Thank you.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you so much. So we can wait another 2 minutes. In meanwhile, is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves? Go ahead and please introduce.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all our Guru Maharajas. This is Nina from Naperville, Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Nina Mataji, Dhanavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your sweet association. All glories to your services. Hari Bol, welcome to the call. Then we can chant.
Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna
Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna
Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Maharaj is there on the phone.
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for joining and giving your valuable time and association this morning. We are very fortunate to have you on the call, Maharaj. Whenever you are ready, please take over, Maharaj.
Okay, can you give me 2 minutes? I'll be right back.
Yes, Maharaj. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare
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 Ram
Hare
Hare Ram Hare Ram
Hare Hare Hare
Hare Ram
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram
Hare Ram Hare
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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram
Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Ram Ram Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare
Hare Ram Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Hare
Hare Ram
Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Hare Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram Hare Hare
Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram
Hare
Ram Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Hare
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 Hare.
Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram,
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Thank you, Maharaj, for joining and giving your association and enlightening us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 26th chapter, 26th verse. Maharaj, please take over, Maharaj. Hari Bol.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5th, chapter number 26 and text number 26. This is the description of the hellish planets, which is the part of the creation. And as we know, the creation has taken place with the aid of three primordial modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So those who are in the mode of goodness would have residence in the upper planetary system, and those who come repeatedly, they and go for the upward or downward journey during their lifetime due to the activities they perform. They are in the middle planetary system. And the third one is those are the planets underneath the earthly planet. They are called, the Adhogati. So the heavenly and hellish planets, they have been described, but this is particularly the hellish planets where it is meant for the human beings, especially where they are given the liberty to work, pro or con. So therefore, those who are against the injunctions given by the Supreme Lord, how to act within this material world from the level of middle planet, that is earthly planet, the hellish planets have been given. And how many hellish planets are there? You'll be surprised. So Sukdev Goswami is giving this description, and we can see how people are violating the laws and what will be their future punishment. So in that reference, this description is coming in 5th canto, 26th chapter. So this text number 26, Yastvi havai savarna bharya dvijoritah payayati kamamohita sang papam kritam matra Retakulyayam patayitva retah sampayayanti. Yaha, anyone who to but iha, in this life, why indeed Savarnam means of the same caste, Bharyam, the wife, his wife, Dvijaha, a person of the higher caste, such as Brahman, Kshatriya, and Vaishya. Retaha, the semen, Payayanti, causes to drink, Kama Mohitaha, being deluded by lusty desires, Tam, him, Papakritam, performing sin, Amutra, in the next life, Retaha Kulyaya. Retaha Kulyaya means in the river of the semen, Patayitva, throwing, Retaha, semen, Sampayanti, forces to drink. The translation is, if a foolish member of the twice-born classes, the Brahman, Kshatriya, or Vaishya, forces his wife to drink his semen out of lusty desire to keep her under control, he is put after death into a hellish, the hell known as Lala Bhaksha. There he is thrown into a flowing river of semen, which he is forced to drink. The practice of forcing one's wife to drink one's own semen is a black art practiced by extremely lusty persons. Those who practice this very abominable activity say that if a wife is forced to drink her husband's semen, she remains very faithful to him. Generally, only the low-class men engage in this black art, but if a man born in the higher class does so, after death, he is put into the hell known as Lala Bhaksha. There he is immersed in the river known as Shukra Nadi and forced to drink semen. So this is the the entire promotional activity of going into the higher opportunity to go in the heavenly planets, and rather such a person, such a lusty person gets stuck into a very abominable situation because of his activity. We are told that the purpose of the semen is to push up towards the brain. Such practice is done by the brahmacharis starting to learn how to become Brahma Tejas. When the Brahmanas are supposed to do all the activity in the mode of goodness, and when they control the sex desire, they would not let their semen go into gutter. Rather, they do such austerity that the semen would not come out at all, and rather it will be reabsorbed within the bloodstream and go up in the brain. Because semen is the most strongest part to carry the life. The carry life means even in a drop of semen, there are millions of sperm, the cells that carry the life. So a father has to be very, very careful not to waste the semen, but to use it in order to produce a Krishna conscious child. So those who are of the habit of throwing it into the gutter or putting in the mouth of his wife is considered to be an abominable activity. The male chauvinism is being, dominated by this particular kind of desire, and the ultimate of the desire that whatever the strength which is embedded in the semen, the Lord has put in order to reproduce. And out of the single ejaculation of the semen, while performing in a Krishna conscious activity to beget a child to serve the Lord. Why? Because it's the life source. The life source is embedded into the mother's womb, becomes active, and she forms the body according to the potency of the semen. It is said that even in the modern science that the head of the sperm carries the chromosomes, powerful, and the X chromosome and Y chromosome is only found in the men. And if that the Y chromosomes become predominant, then the boy will be generated. Otherwise, a girl will be generated. 2 X chromosome, 1 X chromosome from the sperm and 1 X chromosome from the mother's egg will make a girl. 2 X chromosomes combined together to form the female child. But the Y chromosome, which is very distinguishable, produces the boy, but that comes from the men's semen. So, Srila Prabhupada also comments that after, one drop of semen is formed after concentrating 50 times more blood is required to create that. It means the potency is so much concentrated, not in the blood, but in the semen. And that has to be wasted either in the gutter or in the mouth of one's wife, has an ulterior motivation that such miserly men, yanmai thunadi grahamedi sukham hitucham, kanduya karo eva dukkha dukkham, trupyanti neh kripana bahu dukkha bhajam, kandutivan manasijam savishahetadira. Prahlad Maharaj chants this prayer to clarify the miserly people, who do not know the purpose of the life and life-giving system like of the semen. For them, the Grahamedis and the highest pleasure of the Grahamedis is sex life. But that is very tucham. Miserly people do not understand the quality of happiness derived. So Maithunadi activities is a very miserly activity that becomes a kind of very dirty habit right from adolescent, because they are not taught any lessons in the art of spiritual science. That the spiritual potency has directly connected with the semen of a man. And that makes a man very distinguishable in both physical appearance and than the female. So in all aspects, when we say that if that purpose of becoming Urdhva-reta means those who are absorbing all the potencies of the semen and let it backflow into the blood that carries to the brain. So brain is nurtured with a firm determination of the potency, and therefore men will be much more Krishna conscious, and he will be able to become free from all the unnecessary entanglement in carrying out his householder life. Such thing has been taught in ideally in brahmacharya ashram to the boys only. We never understood or never heard even about the girls' Gurukul. It's non-existent. Prabhupada did not institute girls in Gurukul. Only the boys. Why? Because they have to be trained, and the girls will be trained by the mothers with natural association and the functionality of the mother. It doesn't mean that mothers are inferior. But those who are misers, when they throw their semen in the mouth of the wife, with a belief that they will remain subjugated, they will become more faithful. But that is a miserly act of wasting the masculine energy that is flowing, and it is only available. But that gives a way to so many aparadas or the offenses that people become so mad. You have seen and heard about all these very incidents, and in India especially frequent, the gang raping. What is their the state of mind during such act, that they become not only violent on the ladies, but they destroy the life of the women. Even housewives, are completely devastated. And in modern time and life of male chauvinism in the Western world, to exchange a wife in order to have a better sex partner, even though it becomes a fashion of provocative sex. The polygamy aspect, it is found in all religion at more or less degrees. We can say in Islam, the big racket is going on, big uproar is going on in India because of the comment on the Prophet Muhammad and getting married to Aisha. She was betrothal. Her betrothal was at the age of 6, and said to the Prophet was more than 50 years old. And at the age of 9, she was married. And in Quran, so much depiction about all these things, which is not understood properly, people give different interpretations. But at the same time, why Islam only? Even in Christianity, they won't spare even Jesus Christ to have an illicit sex with Mary Magdalene. Not only that, even in our Vedas, there is a big uproar about Shivalinga is going on. So we can understand those who are Rajoguni and Tamoguni people, they aspire to get their fun deriving carnal pleasure, and they forget the original purpose of the reproductive system that the Lord gave in their body. Sukadeva Goswami in the first canto, second canto, immediately says, Pashavo kim namehanti. The animals do not discharge semen. Why? Because it's very sarcastic comment from those who are uncontrolled in the life of sex in human being, uncontrollable. And they go up to certain extents which are very abominable. But you and we know that both hell and heaven has been created in order to give the results of the life activity. If one is meritorious, he will go in the upward. But meritorious activities can be only performed by those who are in mode of goodness. But abominable practice will be performed by those people who resort to the mode of ignorance. There is a Shastra, what they call Shaktiyas, those who are worshipping the Shakti, and the Shaktas also have many devices to entice the woman and control through sex. And that practice, even though it is described, but it is just to show what kind of hell he will have to enter into. So, is this heaven and hell very factual? Somebody asked, I think, a question. I don't know whether Srila Prabhupada answered or something. But it said, well, if you understand as the earth is factual, so hell and heaven are also factual. It's not a virtual understanding that if this kind of activity is that, then that kind of result will be coming. But no, of course, such material existence is temporary because all the situations have been created. They are sustained for some time and they will be dissolved. And all these activities are conducted under the influence of the three modes of material nature. But Krishna, in devotional service, wants to become free from the effect of three modes altogether. Because there is fourth mode is called the transcendental mode. So those who are very respectful to the creativity principle of Lord Shri Krishna, they will become ideal grahastha in order to procreate the progeny to serve Lord Krishna so he can be or she can be delivered back home, back to God. That is the purpose of procreation. Otherwise, what is the need? Srila Prabhupada said, why to beget the progeny like cats and dogs? But here, they have no purpose to create. And they want to create the fun. And such miserly people are simply increasing the each. Kandune eva karayor dukkha dukkha. So that will create only the hellish after hellish life. And Krishna does not favor them. Shipami asajram asurim yonim mapannam mudha janmani janmani. In every birth, Krishna says, I will put them into deeper and deeper existence of hellish situations. So, Sukadeva Goswami is an Urdhvareta himself and doesn't hesitate to talk about the abominability that goes in the sex life, which is meant for recreation. The animals do not go to suffer any consequences because they don't waste their semen. They are controlled by the nature that they have been bestowed, and under the supervision of the nature, they get the heat period for procreation only once a year, most of them. While man is abusing the opportunity and they think the human being in the mode of passion becomes overboard and takes the opportunity to tantalize the senses. The more and more hellish situation is concerned. The persons who are drained out of their semen, they become they are withdrawn from procreating anyone. No chance then, because they are abusing the system. But the so-called entertainment industry and that is based even on the aspect of sex and permissive sex, the act of sex, and they go on plagiarizing the activity as the ultimate aim of the and why it is to be even restricted to one's own wife. They go overboard. It's like Ravan's demoniac nature. The demon always think to enjoy others' wives. That was the argument of even Ravana, found in Valmiki Ramayana. That makes him a Rakshas. They want to enjoy the nectar of life, but at the same time, they want to eat the flesh that is making the life. So they are man-eaters. Very abominable lifestyle they create after the so-called male chauvinist activity. And they are either becoming polygamist in United States, just like Mormons and others. They are highly criticized. Even when you apply for an immigration in United States, the government is saying it's enough to ask us, do you practice polygamy, or do you promote it? Those who say yes, then they will not be allowed to enter because they have pernicious problem in the promiscuous life. Thou shalt not commit adultery is also another way that is found in 10 Commandments that Christians and in Judaism religion they have been commanded. But what is happening in Islam? They are given so much permissitiveness, and that led even their prophet to enter into such life. It is considering the life system to preserve is not by carnal desire, but rather life can be more appreciated by becoming urdhvareta, because there is a purpose in the human life's evolution that only by cultivating spiritual knowledge capable to understand the Supreme, by practicing the activities that will free from the three modes of material nature. So such activities are called devotional service. Where wife is respected as a Vaishnavi, one would not do this kind of abominable activity with her. So the message is very clear. It is not simple, just Yamaraja will punish in this kind of hell. No, Yamaraja is a pure devotee of the Lord. He is Mahajan, and he knows. So those who are committing, this is not only adultery, but with one's own wife, it is not even a rape, but it is also keep her under subjugation. That is the general belief. That's why people do. But that is, no, there is a deeper sinful intention. And that is very abominable. So the person is casted into the river of semen in the, what you call, the hell known as, what is the name? You removed the page. The hellish condition.
Yes. Maharaj, the hell name is Lala Bhaksha.
Lala Bhaksha. Lala Bhaksha. This hell is a flowing river of the semen. Do you think it is eulogical? I mean, just a, what you call a flowery language of the hell is? No, because his entire consciousness has been floating and drowning in the semen itself. Such semen is flowed away in the gutter. So there is a gutter of semen, there is a river of semen, and because the consciousness is absorbed within the semen, so such a person who committed abominable activity will be thrown into that river of consciousness of semen. This is the a perpetual, when such a person will be given chance to come out from that punishment, even though we see the hellish or heavenly planets are just temporary, like the earthly planet. But what is the age of Earth and how many years more it is going to be sustained? But here, this is the river of the result of abominable activity of mode of Rajogun. It is hellish and it is turning into Tamogun. So the river of cement, instead of used for Sattvagun, it is simply becoming hellish situation for those who are entering into the ignorant mode of the result of misusing the Rajogun. Rajogun always advances into Tamogun. Otherwise, how come Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Rajoguna Samadbhava? Even the Krodha is all devouring activity in Tamoguna, but it's generated from Rajoguna. Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Rajoguna Samadbhava, Mahashano Mahapapma. Mahashana means it is an unquenching fire that puts us into Mahapapma. This is called Mahapap, to throw cement in the mouth of a wife. The Nityo Vairinam, that is our eternal enemy, eternal enemy for making progress in mode of goodness. So, all these activities which are described, it's not a make-believe stuff. Sukadeva Goswami doesn't have to waste time in describing all this. Neither the readers of Srimad Bhagavatam has to waste time in commenting on this kind of activity which is abominable and punishable in such a situation that will never think. They will simply try to pass it as a joke, not understanding the seriousness that it is very meaningful when Sukadeva Goswami describes. It is our eternal enemy. And this enemy has have been pervaded into our entirety of being. And therefore, this enemy of lust, and then it can flagrate its activity to such an extent as it is being described here by Sukadeva Goswami, that it is destroying us. So in our devotional service, we are told to refrain from illicit sex. Any sex that is out of the purpose of creation is called illicit. And the holy matrimonial between a cultured, those who are advancing towards spiritual life, they have been given. And that is the ideal grasthashram, foundation. And the purpose is a very, very exalted purpose, has been converted into the hellish, situation by this uncontrollable carnal desires. So devotees have to learn. It is for our learning. Means whenever we understand the abominable activities that in our previous life we might have been even either addicted or we may be contemplating into deriving by squeezing out every drop of semen, then it is an abominable thing for that carnal desire. It is abominable. While in ideal grahasthashram, such things are not to be expected, even to think or contemplate on it. But Sukadeva Goswami is telling to give us a proper wake-up call. At any state of our existence in Krishna consciousness, such a wake-up call is extremely important in order to prevent our gliding down to the hellish condition in sex life. Out of all 4 regulative principles, the refrain from illicit sex is the most important for the purpose of retaining our semen to go in the brain rather than go in the drain or in the mouth of a wife. Such intentions are hellish, and if the intentions are hellish, then activities are hellish, and activities are hellish, you are going to glide down in the hell, and that is called this Lala Paksha. So this is a very eye-opening reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, and through the purport of Srila Prabhupada, we need to understand thoroughly. It is a black magic or black art of black magic. And naturally, the Shaktas are very much inclined to perform black magic, to subjugate by force, and force of sex is also used as an instrument of controlling something. So the devotees do not resort to black magic. Devotees resort to the mercy of Krishna and their God brothers and God sisters. This is how to come out from the temptation of carnal desires. Simply associate with the devotees and those who are progressive minded devotees. Associate with them and will be able to come out. If we have practical difficulties in controlling the sex life, then ask very candid question to senior God brothers or even Guru, and they will give up the correct meaning, which is coming under their realizations, and expose them. So every word of Sukadeva Goswami is leading to the absolute truth. But those who are punishable because they are the violators of such principles, they can't violate the simple rules in Manu Samhita, and they flagrantly violate. So naturally, all these descriptions are written to get an appropriate reaction. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. All right, that is the rule in thermodynamics and other physical principle of Newton and everything. So they may not be able to describe this, but here They cannot describe because they do not know the original purpose, why the earth is revolving in its own orbit, why every planet is revolving in around the Dhruv planet. Yasyāgyaya brahmati sambrata kala chakro govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Everything has been created with the purpose of worshipping the Supreme Lord Govinda. And therefore, in every aspect of our life, whether we have very pious lives or we have very rotten life, Krishna is indifferent to both. Api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananyapat sadhureva hi samantavya samyak vyavasito hi saha. Even after performing in abominable activities, but one who has come to resolve bhajate mam ananyapat, then he must be considered sadhu. And kshipram bhavati dharmatma swasachanni gacchati kaunte pratijani name bhakta pranashyati. That devotee is above hell or hellish mentality. Devotee is above even heavenly achievements. Devotees are above from both pros and cons of the material world that is created in opposition of each other. Dvaita. Two. Dvaite bhadra abhadra sakali saman yai bhalo yai mand sab manodharma. In Chaitanya Charitamrita. Dvaita means we are existing in the realm of duality. But the devotee is coming out from the realm of duality and fixing him singularly on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, who has created this temporary material world, who is maintaining it for the time being to give us education proper in the human form of life by giving instructions like Manu Samhita and refraining from all the degrading activities. And devotional life is to go back home, back to Godhead, to resolve all these problems. Mamopetyatu kaunteya dukhalaya masashvatam napravanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gataha. One has to achieve samsiddhim, the sum total of all the perfections, and that is devotional service. If we are simply confined in the nitty-gritty work of our confused life, but once initiated, our confusion has to gradually go. We can't keep confusion in our mind because the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam is very clear. Purpose of Bhagavad Gita is very clear. Sarva dharmana parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. And practicality of all nitty-gritty details are given by Sukadeva Goswami, who is a liberated person, and he is so kind to tell through Parikshit Maharaj about the heavenly and hellish planets. Because we are in the middle, either we have a choice to go upward or downward. But no, there is also the gati, do you want to come back in the human form of life? The mama janmani bhavatat bhakti rahetu gitu. That is also the third one. But if you want to go back home, back to Godhead and never to return, yad gatvana nivartante tad dhamam paramam mama We have been told everything. So what is your choice? After being a devotee, you will be given guarantee. But your guarantee is fostered by, the description of, never to think of hellish activity. Devotee is supposed to become sober, become free from this so-called hallucinating material world and its activity, and they have limitless limitless inventions how to titilize your senses and destroy your senses. So Prahlad Maharaj is telling, Yan Maithunadi Grahamedi Sukham Hitucham Kanduye no Karayor Eva Dukha Dukkam. You simply, once you enter into pampering, by rubbing the skin, you will increase the pain there. You will increase the disease. By rubbing through the sense of touch, you will not be satisfied. Trasatruppyanti neha kripana bahu dukkha bhajam. This must be a miserly act to throw semen in the mouth of a wife. Trupyanti neha kripana bahu dukkha bhajam. They will end up suffering more and more and more, and ultimately going to this lala bhaksha. At least men will go. Anyway, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare Ram, Hare Hare.
Anybody has any question?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Dandavat pranam to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Beautiful class, Maharaj. Very beautiful class. Very difficult point to stick with, but you throughout the class, you stick with this point. It's a very clear message, Maharaj, from you. Very beautiful class. Low mentality of certain men you're talking about. And then certainly it's a lack of spirituality, as you said. With spirituality, our Shastras will give strength to our intelligence, and then we know what is right and what is wrong. And you nicely talked about the entertainment industry and the modern society, which is pushing this woman showing culture. And of course, rapes are happening, and a woman who is a mother and a sister is being disrespected day by day. You nicely talked about the resource. This resource given by Krishna has to be used for procreation. But whenever we use this for any stupid sense enjoyment, we will go to the lower planets. It's so nicely explained in our Shastras. And also, Maharaj, Shastras are so amazing. I've been thinking thousands of years ago, they are making in such a way that listeners are, aware of the consequences, what is going to happen. But thanks to Srila Prabhupada, Maharaj, we as devotees, we see the deities every morning. So it's even abominable to show our face to the deities if we even think of something like that. So Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Maharaj. Such a beautiful class, amazing class. Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Sukakara Prabhu, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Vyas Maharaj is so wonderful. He went in so much length. Actually, my name is Sukakar Krishnadas. I'm a disciple of Vedavyasa Swami Maharaj. I was actually in Sharjah, Shamadesh Yatra leader, but now I am in Chennai, I'm retired. I got some of my devotees who were with me in Dubai, now in Africa. So he says there are some devotees who are practicing, who are chanting also, but they are in the sex side, they are very weak, the African people. So he has told that some of the Africans, though they are initiated, still they are in illicit sex. So how to advise them, because they say that, can I tell openly, there's some very abominable thing. They say that the men, women, they say do sex all the 365 days. So he's not understanding how to make them understand with the animalistic life, because we were animals before as a pig or a boat or a kabutar, been done so much. So maybe in some part of our mind it is there. So he's asking what is to be done, because for them, they will do everything but sex, they cannot live.
Krishna's promise, Name Bhakta Pranashyati, will be there. But Bhakta, who is the Bhakta? The body is the Bhakta, or the soul is the Bhakta?
Soul.
The soul should be Bhakta, but if the soul is inclined to do both, then how can he be Ananya Bhakta? He has to choose one way or other. If his mentality is in illicit sex, then he can become monkey also, but he has to take birth in Vrindavan. I have heard that in Vrindavan even many sadhus are practicing so rigorously, but they are very much tired of waiting for the mercy of Krishna. So they want to cut short by committing abominable activity. And then they think, oh yeah, I will become a pig or a monkey, but I want to be born in Dham. So Dham will protect me if nobody can protect me. If I am unable to protect my own self by proper Krishna conscious, prohibitions that promoting me, I will become monkey. But that will be my last life. So, but this is not a willful indulgence and continue the willful. If they have a will, then they can, either decrease or satisfy by their own wife. But at the same time, if they are thinking of woman only, they will become woman next life. All different provisions are there. What is their desire? Just to remain one foot on the horse in one direction and other foot the horse in other direction. How long it will go on? Very short lifetime. Either he will fall off, but he will be forced to stop chanting because the chanting is being abused. A seventh offense will be coming in his way, not to promote, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. And that will increase his the attachment to the material life, even after understanding so many times in this
10th
method.
offense.
Yes, number 10. So he will be filled with all the offenses, let me tell you. He will end up in blasphemy, and he will end up and thinking everything is same. Oh, look at that. In Svargaloka, Indra is also affected. Why? What am I in front of him? Let me have Shastraksha all over my body. But Indra got repented, and he was given eyes instead of vaginas. So the idea is that they cannot justify. They have to give up sooner or later on one object. The yam vapi smarande jayantyante kaleva tam tamaveti kaunteya sadatat bhava bhavita. Who says that at the time of death they will remember the holy name and sex life together? There is no prognosis. There cannot be like that. It's one way or other. If he's lucky, do you think he will be liberated immediately?
No.
Like Ajamil, he will be given chance to go run and complete his sadhana, and then he will be going back home, back to Godhead. It's not that easy, Prabhu. What we call the laws of Mother Nature, They may grind slowly, but they grind very fine.
I think only by sadhu sangha they have to understand that they should not do anything, and they have to do the chanting perfectly. Chanting will stop all the bad activities.
Naturally, chanting and refraining from these four principles.
I think of the fourth one is the most difficult. Meat eating they stop, gambling they stop, intoxicating they stop. But this one is a subtle thing. Whether they're telling truth or telling lies, you don't know unless they tell it out.
Yeah. That was a fear in Islam also. That's why they make 5 wives.
That is also foolishness.
But the point is that, people construe according to their, circumstances. But it means they are governed by the material modes. A devotee becomes very trustworthy to Guru and Krishna to perform the 4 regulative principles diligently.
Another devotee said, illicit sex he is not doing with the African fellow, but I'm doing masturbation because he doesn't want to go and sleep. But that is also wrong. That's putting in the gut.
He is throwing his semen directly into the gutter. Instead of let it go to the brain, he is throwing because he doesn't understand the value of it. The one which is responsible to give rise to the life, that is the principle. Life begins from life. So unless your semen is lively, how is it going to produce another living being?
And when I told about that, he's telling last option is there's a white discharge. If he doesn't do it, it'll anyway go. See, they are very open. The African, they don't hide.
Yeah,
so
but they have to be very, instructed, very nicely instructed, that if that is your preference, then you can't claim Krishna consciousness. You may be given chance in the next life to understand and practice. Better be born in Bharatavarsha. But we are giving them opportunity by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. We are distributing. And some are very good examples. Everybody is not. So it's not a common situation.
Yeah.
Even Prahlad Maharaj was born in a demoniac family.
But he had Narada Muni's blessing that he could hear full Bhagavatam when he...
Yes, but then he blessed his grandson Bali Maharaj.
Yeah.
He could not bless his own son Virochan. And he went for what you call illicit sex. You know the story. Virochan and Sudhanva both were. One was a Brahman and another was a Rakshas anyway. But both were after one girl. I forgot the name. It's not Purvachitti, somebody else. The girl told Virochan, Sudhanva is going to come. And if you ask him, that you want to marry me, then you depend upon his answer. I have no problem. When Sudhanva came, Sudhanva responded, let's go to your father, Prahlad, and let him give the judgment, who is a rightful rightful person to hold the hand of this girl. So both of them went to
Prahlad
Maharaj. And Prahlad told Virochan, it is not your capacity to stand in front of the virtues of Sudanva. So give up the idea. Yes. But this is how the demoniac nature was, pushing through. They think whomever they desire, they will. As if the girl is a common. But girl should be intelligent enough to be faithful. Anyway. Anything else?
Maharaj, do you have some more time? There are a couple of more hands and some questions in the chat box, Maharaj.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Harini
Thank you
Mataji,
very much, Maharaj. Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you very much. Dhanyawad.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu. Harini Mataji, please go ahead with your question.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances. So, glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, my question is, in the case of non-devotee, at the time of death, right, a Yamdut came and comes and take the soul to go to Yamraj, to Yamlok. So where is that Yamlok found? Is it found in the hellish planet down earth?
Definitely. It's in the southern side. So therefore we do not, put our head in the southern side to go back to home, back to God. There are practices of sleeping also. Which direction you will keep your head in. If you want to make further progress, then let them lay in the north. Even we install the deities for the same purpose in east-west. Facing east should be the ideal position. So the deity should be in the west. And so therefore, if a person wants to die, or when he goes to sleep, where should be his bedstead would be? That is a practice. This is one of the practice, because on the southern side, Yamaraj is there. That is his domain.
Okay.
But those who are innocent and those who are inquisitive of Krishna consciousness, they are not afraid to even go to the place of Yamaraj. Like in Kathopanishad, you read the story of that boy, Nachiketa. Nachiketa's father was a Brahman, but he was very proud of his, qualities of giving donations. So one time he had so many cows, so he started donating the cows to other Brahmanas. So this little boy came to his father, Father, what are you doing? He said, I'm donating cows. Second time he came again, Father, what are you doing? Oh, don't you see I'm donating cows? But the boy came for the third time and asked him, Father, what are you doing? Because I'm also your property. And whom are you going to donate? And the father got completely outrageous and said, I'm donating you to Yamaraj. Oh, thank you very much. So the boy is going to the southern side and to Yamalok. And he arrives live in Yamalok. And the Yamadutas say, oh, why this boy is coming? What's your name? Nachiketa. Oh, you are not in our list. How the hell you came here? So Nachiketa said, my father donated me to Yamaraj. So I want to see Yamaraj. So Yamaraj came and he was very astonished. Oh, why your father has donated me? I do not know. My father is very munificent. When I asked him, I'm your property, whom are you donating to me? Then he said, Yamaraja, so here I am. But I am very inquisitive about what people are doing, either pious activities or impious activities. I heard that you are punishing the impious people. Says, yes, that is true. But for the pious people, if they come, I have to educate them on Krishna consciousness. And Yamaraja taught Nachiketa about Krishna consciousness and said, now you practice and go. So Nachiketa is returning home. And the father was very repentant. How the hell I'm punishable to the abode of Yamaraj. Instead of me being punished, I sent my son, and he was crying profusely, repenting after his, words. But Nachiketa was coming back, and he was so much exalted because Nachiketa was completely Krishna conscious, and he was practicing, and his father said, you are a true son of mine. You belong to Krishna. I'm not going to tell you that you go to Yamaraja again. Now you are liberated. While I'm going to be punished, then Nachiketa, as a pure devotee, he was also very influencing in making everything Krishna conscious. There is also another story of Yamaraj. Even Janak Videhi, Janak Maharaj, once thought that let me go through this road, South Road, to go back home, back to Godhead. So Janak Maharaj went, and he arrived near the main gate of Yamalok. And the air which was passing, touching his limbs, entered into the Yamalok. And all the entities which were punished in different kinds of hellish situations, they got immediate relief from their miserable situations. And there was sudden change, as if it became Swargaloka to them. They were feeling so much happiness. Even Yamadutas were completely astonished. They rushed to Yamaraj. Something is happening. And all this, sinful people are so much feeling happiness. So Yamaraj was astonished. No, there must be something. So he finally came to his main gate, and he saw his god brother. They went and embraced and requested, no, I just wanted to say hello to you, and that's why I came, But this is how the influence of a pure devotee, even in the hellish situation, is making the things very much blissful. So they requested, please stay here for some time more, But that was real greediness to get relief, even in Yamalok. They said, we will face anything now. We got re-energized. Certainly Yamaraj will be more happier than send back them to practice more Krishna consciousness and release them. So these are the effect of being pure devotees. Okay, Harini, things are all right
yes.
in Maharaj?
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, but who are those who goes to Pitarlok? Because Pitarlok is found above the earthly planets, no?
Pitralok?
Yes.
The Pitralok is also a little lower than the earthly planets. It is not coming under heavenly planets.
Yes, it is in between now. in between earthly and heavenly planets.
Right. So anyway, they have to be liberated. Therefore, the responsibility was given to Putra, Putri, those who are Tra means for the deliverance, Tranaya, Pitrutara, Titi Putra. Because Putri is also there, they can also deliver their parents. If the parents are not delivering us, it's our obligation to deliver our parents. From my point, it's a mutual thing. It is not a one-way track. All right.
Okay, Guru.
Okay.
Thank you, Guru.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harini Mataji. Thank you, Maharaj. Very beautiful pastime of Nachiketa and Dashat Maharaj. Very beautiful, Maharaj. And what is better than our Srila Prabhupada pastime, going into body and delivering everyone there. Hari Bol. Balaram Prabhu, please go ahead with your question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, this was really enlightening me because I have done so many mistakes in my life, especially in this context, what you explained. So I was wondering, why did we, even in our biology studies, even in high school or college, they were explaining only what is a reproductive system, but they did not tell us what happens and why we need to do this, all this, right? So I was just wondering, this can be introduced with in context with the Shastra, then people can be educated. But nowadays, if I look at in Karnataka and other places, I'm actually from Bangalore, but I'm living in Chicago. So what I was wondering is, even if somebody introduces something about the Shastra, then there are a lot of objections and secularism and this and that. So it's very difficult nowadays. And then how do we introduce even in the schools, at least the right Shastras, Maharaj? It's a difficult aspect. And in fact, one of my friend, he's a minister in, he's actually a Karnataka education minister in, so we were also, saying this has even Bhagavad Gita has to be introduced. But he has that interest, but there are a lot of objections. So in that way, we are not even able to even give the right Shastra, and why, we cannot go into details of what I'm talking about. So in this situation, how do we can say, preach Krishna consciousness, but there is a lot of objections, even in the government sectors. So how do we deal with this situation?
It's Kali Yuga, and it's a degrading age. But those who are Krishna consciousness, those who are in Krishna consciousness, they have the first and foremost obligation. Apni acharite sikhailo bhagavatar. We practice ourselves and become exemplary to re-establish the Daivi Varnashram system. Prabhupada's immediate action is on that. And he depends upon his followers as well as grand disciples to implement the Varnashram system, right? And such abominable activities, if our second generation means the Gurukulis and what we faced through the illicit activities during that time. And there was a heavy price we have to pay for it. If we can correct that situation ourselves by our own example, then people will be encouraged. It's not what you call, you can resolve by teaching or lecturing. No. The absolute truth is revealed only to the willing person who wants to execute for the pleasure of Krishna. So therefore, he will invite the mercy of Krishna. Yam vivrunate tanuswam yenesha vivrunate. If he pleases to expose himself, then he will reveal himself to that particular devotee. Nayam atma pravachanana labhya athva bahuna sutena. Implementation on the public level is far stretch idea. Even Prabhupada would not, give much importance to even to the people in general, the children who are less advantageous because they lost one or other senses. Says, for example, deaf and dumb. He was asked in Chicago by the I think some Catholic priest who was running the school for deaf and dumb. He said, what are you doing for salvaging this kind of unfortunate people? Prabhupada said, yes, they are very unfortunate. I'm sorry. But Prabhupada did not give any, because he was having the emergency to establish Krishna consciousness at large. Then reform itself within to accept such challenges of the society. But meanwhile, Satya Yoga will come. So it's a very grilling period of 427,000 years yet to get into. At least we create a society as an ideal example, even though we are in minority, but it will be inspiring. So if we are not going to create such a society for our introspection and our encouragement to advance in Krishna consciousness, then what to think high of public services in that direction where we lack ourselves. So I would remember Srila Prabhupada for this kind of thing. It's not that we already surpassed this onslaught of mayas, in different activities. So we have to be humble. We have to do within our means. That's okay, but remain fully applied with Krishna consciousness in our life. So our responsibility is for ourselves and give opportunity to others, but you should not go very way out of your own periphery. Otherwise, if we stretch too much, it will break. That's how our Gurukul system also failed in that sense. And I don't think Srila Prabhupada is happy with that. So the importance is apaniyacharite sikhailo bhagavad dharma. Let's apply to ourselves and educate others. Is it okay?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much. So
okay.
Some of them, as you said, it should be confidential, because whoever if you don't keep it some of the matter confidential, then it'll be in a different scenario. I totally understand.
Some are thinking that maybe getting a government grant to establish such an institute with lofty ideals, but again, it's a controversial situation. Nobody has ever proven that.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Balaram Prabhu, for the question. Thank you, Maharaj. Very beautiful answer. Our own deeds and behavior, we should concentrate on that, and that will be example for the general people. Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, do you have more time? It's getting late for you too. There is another hand raised, another couple of questions in the chat box.
That's okay.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. Lalitangi Mataji, please go ahead with your question. Go ahead, Lalitangi Mataji. You're unmuted.
Am I audible, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Maharaj, for your wonderful class. Maharaj, in the translation, it is mentioned about the Brahmana, Kshatriya and Vaishyas, but not Shudras. So I was just wondering, is this instruction applicable only to the higher classes? And then people may argue that everybody in Kali Yuga is Shudra, something like that.
That's correct. Those who are trying to become of upper class, because the four classes are still existing by profession. Karmana jayate Brahman, Vaishya and Kshatriya. Three are being recognized by their karma. Janmana jayate Shudra, Karmana jayate Dvija. And these three especially can become Dvija by proper initiations. Twice born. Shudras are not supposed to be given. If somebody wants to remain Shudra itself, we think, okay, let them chant Hare Krishna, at least they will. But when they chant Hare Krishna, they are Vaishnavas. But just like the first question, we got about the African devotees, they are chanting, so they are Vaishnavas, but we will have to wait till they become Kshipram Bhavati Dharmatma, right? So that's okay. Those who have perseverance, they can have patience to see them really advancing. But only the stage of advancement is beneficial to go back home, back to God.
Yeah, thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. But that doesn't mean the holy name alone can be not enough. No, holy name alone can make them first Vaishnava and then Brahman.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Altangi Mataji. Thank you, Maharaj. Holy name has so much power, true. Maharaj, Parima Mataji is asking a question in the chat box. Parima Mataji is saying, Danva Pranam Maharaj, even the sages like Vishwamitra was not able to control this sex instinct. So please throw some light on this, Maharaj, for us.
Well, the mode of passion, as it is described in Bhagavad Gita, the root qualities of the mode of passion is very temptation. Generally, asked to unmute. There's someone who is muted. You are able to hear me?
Yes, Maharaj, very clear.
Maharaj, yes.
All right. So the qualities of Rajoguna is to be very much understood. The human being, especially, is getting befooled by application of Rajoguna itself. If he is in the mode of goodness, then he would have a discriminating intelligence. All right? But in the mode of passion, he loses that sense of discrimination. The sense of discrimination between Sat and Asat. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate asat. Ubhayoropi drashto anta tattva darshibhi. Those who are seekers of truth, they are Brahminical nature and they want to know Brahman, the absolute truth. So therefore, they use their intelligence between what is, discerning what is permanent and what is temporary. All right. Now, those intelligence which does not digest the permanence or eternity, that is, live in living presence. Why to worry? There is more hyperactivity, which is the influence of the mode of passion, hyperactivity. Rishabdev is explaining this. Rajo adhika karma para dukkhecha sukhamanina. Even we give the this description when the human being was created as number 9th creation, and in the 3rd canto, when the human is being coming after in the sequence of the creation, first 8 sequences in the 3rd canto, matrimony is explaining this, that from a tiny living entity, a single cell, an animal like amoeba or this single cell, all the way up to those who are under control of the modes of material nature, and they cannot exert their own desires. They are at the mercy of the 3 modes of material nature only. They are up to 8 categories, from first to 8, from the tiniest living entity to the animal kingdom. All right? But this Homo sapiens, Homo sapien is a very peculiar category of creation. And Maitreya Muni there says that Urvakastrotratu navamam kshattam eko vidho nranam rajo adhika karma para dukkhecha sukhamanina. Number 9th creation is of human being. And his situation is like that, like an arvak means hanging. Strotram means the source of his lively activities, which begins from eating, means the stomach. His stomach is hanging. Up to now, the first 8, the stomach was parallel to the activity of the mode of material nature, but under the control of material nature. They did not have any control. But this number 9, Arvak Strotratu Navamam Kshattam Eko Vidur Rama. Hey Vidur, this is called Nara. It's a very peculiar creation. Rajo Adhika. They've been endowed with more mode of passion. Karma para, that's why they are hyperactive. Karma para. And their measure of happiness is dukkhe chasukhamani. He calculates his happiness on the strength of unhappiness. If you have 10 unhappiness and I have 5 unhappiness, I consider I'm more happy than you. It's simple mathematics, but because it is the influence of more Rajogun and more passionate nature is there, they are naturally inclined to become hyperactive in any field of our activities. And especially in the Western world, now in India also, because the culinary arts of cooking, Indians learn everything to cook for everybody, and they consume and they become hyperactive. These ingredients of that come of hyperactivity is coming from the stomach, what you are eating. So even though you are surrounded by miseries, you start calculating how much happy am I. So you want to increase more and more Rajogun, inflate more and more Rajogun, how to squeeze out every drop of enjoyment in any way, by hook or crook, and then what will happen? Dukkhecha sukhamanina. You are surrounded by miseries, and yet you have inclination to become happy, just like today's class. They become so miser. So kripana, bahudukha bhajam. They inadvertently become recipient of more and more misery. It's hellish condition. Kandutivan manasijam savishaheta dhira. The sober person is a kandutivan, one who is controlling his senses. Cultivating bad habits against the brahmacharya is a path of degradation, in simple words. How could it be promoted? Who would promote it? The modern world, which is ignorant of the Krishna conscious principles. We just preach, chant Hare Krishna, and give them more intensified knowledge when they become sober and want to uplift the society, then they can do that. But we can't live in the world of simply word jugglery. We have to realize this fact in ourselves. Srila Prabhupada is so merciful to create a society of Krishna consciousness. So at least we have within our own society can perform this task, so we can become confident of the absolute truth that we will be heading for. All right.
Thank you, Maharaj. Very
it is an esoteric way to tell.
No, Maharaj, very beautiful answer, Maharaj. In fact, Srila Prabhupada in 2.55 purport says, without engaging yourself in Krishna consciousness, it's difficult, impossible to control your senses. So that's the only way to engage ourselves in Krishna consciousness.
Right. Bhogeshwarya prasaktanam taya pratachetasam vyavasahatmika buddhi samadho na vidiyate. This is this. Prasakta means you are made after it.
Thank you.
Anasaktasya vishayan yatharham upayunjata nirbandhe Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagya uchyate. So beautifully it has been said. We have to practice. All right?
So true, Maharaj. Maharaj, if you have further time, there is another question from Jyoti Mataji in chat box.
Okay.
She's asking, Hare Krishna Maharaj, my question is, what is important, the integrity or the materialistic duties that has to be performed when we have to, where we have to hide the truth? She's saying, Maharaj, you said we should not stretch and do whatever we could do. So how to balance this?
Just read 7th canto, 14th chapter for an ideal grahastha life and apply it. You will be well situated. Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Mataji, do this homework.
Perfect. Haribol. Homework for all of us. Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, there is another small question from Pooja Mataji. How to live a simple life?
Simple living but high thinking. Simple living doesn't mean keep your head idle. It means you have to study, you have to converse, perform the duty of devotee. Machita madgata prana bodhayantascha parasparam kathantascha mam nityam tushanti charamanti cha. This is the simplest life. No complicacy. What else do you want to add into simple life? This is it, Prabhupada said. And Krishna is also saying the same thing.
So true, Maharaj. The bliss we get in the association of devotees talking about Krishna is simple and blissful. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for the answer. That's such a beautiful and satisfying answer. Shamaguri Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All good.
Sorry for being late.
That's okay. That's okay, Maharaj. You're chanting.
That's right. You're taking more time as a what you call interest.
Thank you, Maharaj, for the very enlightening class. And it's very important for us to all grihasthas to get these kind of classes, because most of the devotees on this call are grihasthas. And thank you so much to guiding us in many ways. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna. It's getting late for you, so we should stop.
It's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. We love your interest.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Please pay our obeisances to Maharaj. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripasi
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Guru Srila Prabhupada ji ki jai. His Holiness Vedavyasa Priya Swami Maharaj ki jai. Thank you.
Dandavad pranam, Prabhuji, dandavad pranam.
Dandavad pranam, Maharaj. Dandavad pranam, please accept my dandavad pranam.
Krishna Hare
Hare Krishna.
Gauranga, Nityananda, Nityananda, Gauranga,
Gauranga, Nityananda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for joining today's class. We'll meet tomorrow. Hari Bol.
Thank you so much.